basically, you can bend any note, any string, as long as you're bending it to another note in the scale. So you can get really creative with it, and there's guys out there that do a lot more of it than I do. But basically, if you take the pentatonic scale, we're in the C minor pentatonic scale. You know, the most classic would be, in that scale, the most classic would be on the G string. 1, 2, third string in the bottom. Now, you could bend it up to this note by going like this. And so, when you're bending, you're actually bringing a fret to your finger instead of sliding up to it. So, the thing about bending that's hard is you have to use your ear, you know, to make it sound like it's in tune. But on the G string, you actually have the blues note right here. Now the blues note, the thing about the blues note, the half step, is that it only sounds good when it's going to another note. So like if I'm on the blues note, it has to either slide up to the 5th degree is what it would be called, like, or sliding down to this one. And even that sounds cool, like, but it never really sounds good as,
right,
I mean, unless you're like going for like a fusion thing, you know.
Move it in between.
Yeah, like, you know, like a diminished thing. But so anyway, you could bend the half step, but it's just going to sound good if it's resolving back down to this note, or so like. But if you go, it's like waiting to do something. It doesn't sound good on its own. So you have to be like from the half step to the natural, or and then you can do the whole step bend. The whole step bend can be a resolution in itself. It's the 5th tone of the key, so it sounds good anywhere. I mean, either one can work, but the whole step you can hold it. You can hold on it. Now the other, that'd be, the most classic. One thing that I've seen, a guitar teacher taught me, was bending this note, from this up to this one, just with one finger, like this way.
Oh, okay.
And I don't really do it much, but when he showed it to me, he made it sound really cool, like that kind of thing.
That sounds good.
Yeah, okay. And then another thing, the B string in that scale, well, the next note up from there is the root, which is the number 1 in the tasty zone. That. So, I like sliding up to it. It sounds really good. But, one of probably the most classic is like, stadium filled. That's it. That's the one. Now you have to use your ear to make it sound like perfectly the root, which is right there. And so you'll hear a classic thing is bending that up and then hitting the natural unbent root, like, or like in, Maiden, and many others, Van Halen, everything, but that kind of thing too. So the B string bend up, right into the G string bend a whole step, followed by a half step, but it just has to resolve.
Right, yeah.
And then you can bend the high E string right here. Now you could slide up to it, because that's going to be the note that we're bending up to there. And that's, you know.
Get you right in a tasty zone right
Yeah,
there.
that's it. That's it. It's a dangerous zone. You have to be buckled in. So anyway, we have this. Now we could get very... We're not doing that today. We're going to play real music today, alright? So, we can take... Now when I bend, I like my ring finger. I have seen guys use their pinky.
That's a little awkward.
It's awkward. It's very awkward. I use my ring finger, so normally when I'm just playing the scale, I use my pinky. Anytime I bend one of these, I switch to my ring finger so I can get into my, just what I'm used to. So anyway, you can bend this note a whole step up. And I love it. You could even go, I mean, it's Stevie Ray Vaughan, didn't invent this, you know, like, bend that up, and then get into the next position up, already bent up into that. So now you don't even know where you are, really. Like, you know, like, and, you know, you got the... Now I'm bending the B. So, I mean, you can bend everything, like I said, as long as it's to a note in the scale. So right here, the 13th fret, bend that up a whole step. And by the way, that's also another spot where you can do the half E, as long as it resolves. Whole step bend, followed by the next position down, 11th fret, whole step bend. Back down. And then now I have to just transition somehow, because my first finger's on a bad note. This, if I were to let it off and hit that, it's totally wrong. Doesn't sound good.
Right.
I have to resolve it. Now I'm back in the thing. So I can go right into this B string bend. That's just natural. B string bend, G string whole step, half step, and obviously any kind of combination of any of them. I mean, not, you know, I mean, I'm literally trying to quote Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, and that was his favorite spot, you know. Whole step, half step, whole step. I mean, now is what that you'll hear him do it. Whole half bends. As long as it's resolving, you know. And then the last one, but this is, I should charge for this one. Not you, but
The American people.
yeah, this is a Tasty Zone secret ingredient right here. The root. First finger on the root now. Now I'm like, I don't know what position I'm in. I don't know the scale anymore, but you can at least know that that is, we're in the key of C, and that note right there is a C. It'll sound like home bass. You can do that, and then right there, a whole step higher, all three. It's going to be a whole and a half step bend, also known as a minor third. You know, and you have to make a... You gotta make your guitar face. And your shoulders have to go up like that. It's painful. It's painful. The dark side is like ravaging your body. And then you, so you go... Then... Now you're back in... So they're meant to be mixed around.